Thank you for tuning in Niaga AWANI in this era of rapid technological evolution. The rise of low-code and no-code platforms is reshaping how applications are developed and fostering a paradigm shift in the tech landscape. And by 2024, it is estimated that 65% of app activity will be developed through the low-code and no-code platforms. To discuss further, we have the right authority on the line, which is Dinesh Varadarajan, the Chief Product Officer at Astro. Good morning.
Good morning, Nabila. How are you?
How are you? I'm good. All right, we start. Maybe you can share on how is the current Malaysia's tech landscape right now, especially when it comes to low-code and no-code platforms right now.
Okay. Before delving into that, we'll probably talk about why this is prevalent for the world as well as for Malaysia, right? If you look at what happened during COVID, pretty much every business want to digitalize. Like they're very comfortable operating in the way they're operating for the last 10 to 15 years. Suddenly, everyone want to digitalize, and there is a significant push from the government as well through the MyDIGITAL initiatives from Malaysia as well, right? But again, if you look at it, even if they want to digitalize, there need to be tools that help them in that journey as well, right? Because suddenly there's a significant need to automate everything, but there isn't enough skill set that is available in the market which help them in that automation, right? So now they want to have more people solving their problems, and these people may not be technically skilled as well, right? That's where the no code low code comes into play. So the no code products allow who are people who are not technically savvy to assist the business in automating their problems or digitalize their solutions. That's the reason we are seeing a significant talk about no code, low code in the last 3-4 years. And there is a significant adoption as well. If you look at around the world as well as in Malaysia, a lot of businesses are embracing the low code, no code technologies to automate their problems because they know they don't have like a lot of people who can program and help them in automation. And we are also talking about digital native generation, right? All the folks that are born after 2000, they are part of the new workforce. They're digitally savvy, they have smartphones, they know how to actually use all these complex applications. So the combination of native population, and there's a immediate need for automation is like at least leading this no code low code wave.
But Dinesh, I believe this is not something new in this industry. And with these low-code and no-code platforms, what trends do you foresee, or how long do you foresee the longevity of these platforms?
No, this is the new paradigm, right? If you look at how the languages evolved in the last 20, 30 years, right? Every generation of languages actually removed a lot of complexity in developing applications, right? From assembly, C is much simpler than assembly. Java is much simpler than C, right? And then we have Python, which is much simpler than Java. So as soon as the languages creates like levels of abstraction, more and more people start learning these languages because it's easy, right? No code is the new paradigm of development. And this is we instead of actually seeing it as a tool or a platform, this we should probably see this as a new paradigm of development, which allows people who may not otherwise be able to create applications. So this is here to stay, right? More and more people will start using these products because it's very extremely easy for them. And as it is easy, they are going to create more and more applications using these platforms as well, right? Especially if you look at generative AI, right? This is going to actually accelerate this adoption because uh, till now, if I have to talk to the computer, I need to know the language of the computers, right? And the generative AI says, no, you don't have to know the language of the computers as long as you can talk to me in your native language, right? I will be able to understand that and do the job for you. So the combination of generative AI and low code is going to pretty much remove the category called programmers, right? If I am the business user, if I need to do something, I'll be able to directly talk to the system, work with the low code product, and get the work done, right? That's the transformation, and this is here to stay.
Um, I might want to know how is this increasing of this emerging reliance on low-code and no-code platforms would impact the demand of for skilled software developers and also professional coders, and what strategies can be implemented to cushion this impact, Dinesh?
Okay, so we'll probably take a very simple analogy, right? Till 2010, there's a category called photographers. If you want to take a photograph, you need to go to the photographer. They have like the fancy cameras. They will be able to take photographs. And the normal user, normal person won't be able to take photographs. It's slightly more expensive, right? But again, then the smartphone phones came. Literally made everyone is a photographer, right? That's what the low code is doing for the general population. Now everyone is a programmer. Then what happens to the traditional programmers? Even in photography right now, wildlife photographers, right? We have candid photographers who are specialized in certain areas of photography. Right? Similarly, you're going to have the specialization in programming. For example, if you want to build systems for stock market, if you want to build systems for AI, those programming, those specializations will continue to remain. That's not going to change. So the programmers will solve a higher order problem in programming instead of creating simple applications using the programming languages. And the business users will be able to use these tools and develop all these simple applications without relying on programmers, right? So both these categories will remain, but instead of doing simple application development, programmers will still develop complex systems, and business users will probably mature to a stage where they'll be able to solve their own problems.
But what are the commonly faced challenges when it comes to business adopting these platforms, and what strategies or how does Kissflow address these challenges to provide effective solutions for each of its users?
Okay. Probably digital transformation, mostly people believe it's just to do with introducing systems. It is not, right? Because it is a change in mindset. People are doing pretty much the same job for like 20, 30 years. And if you just go and give a tool to them, they are not going to actually use that and develop application. So more than technical transformation, it is a cultural and business model transformation, right? If you look at banks, the way the banks operated 10 years before and all the digital native banks that operate right now, everything is different. The way they create accounts, manage the money, or like a deposit or funds transfer, everything is completely different than 10 years ago. So the traditional businesses need to first undergo a business model transformation. Given this technology availability, they need to see how they can do the business better. That's the first step. The second step is about cultural transformation. In the sense, it is about changing or enabling the users to solve their own problems, right? Because that's the mindset. It is not nothing about the simplicity of the product. So as long as the business users understand, they have the freedom and flexibility to develop solutions for their problems, they will start using these tools and solve their problems, right? And the third one is the technology transformation. All right. The biggest challenge for business is safety and privacy of the data, right? Because the IT developers are creating a solution, they know all these aspects. But the business may not be able to understand how sensitive the data is, or can I actually give my phone number or credit card number as part of the form I am creating? They may not know that, right? So the low-code systems need to bring in what we call as the governance layer, right? So it is like a guardrail. It should allow the business users to solve their own problems, but at the same time, it should actually create controls around the solutions they are building and also give control to the IT teams to prevent security and privacy problems that these business users can potentially create, right? So to summarize, the transformation, like three steps to it: business model transformation, cultural transformation, and technology transformation. And in technology transformation, the low-code tools probably should have an inbuilt capability to govern what the business users are doing with the platform as well.
And Dinesh, how can the widespread adoption of low-code and no-code platforms can actually contribute to the driving of GDP growth, not just in Malaysia, but also the whole region, particularly in terms of fostering innovation, streamlining businesses' process, and also enabling a rapid digital transformation across various sectors of the economy? What do you think about that?
Okay, so at least from MyDIGITAL Corporation, the projection is it's going to unlock close to 113 billion USD, right, of productive capacity in Malaysia itself. That's huge. That is literally one fourth of the Malaysian GDP, right? So that's what the automation can bring in, because now I see the biggest advantage of this low code or generative AI, right? It's a combination of these two. Is it is actually creating, yeah, it is a great leveler in the sense a small company will be able to compete against companies like Microsoft and Google, right? Because it is whatever that is available to the bigger organizations, it is available to the smaller organizations as well.
Mhm.
Right? For example, if I am running a retail business, whatever technology that is available for Amazon, that is available for me, right? So that is a great, this technology is a great leveler. It actually allows me to compete against established businesses around the world. And it also allows me to compete being in Malaysia with all the other organizations around the world as well, right? Because it's completely digital, right? So whatever possibility that didn't existed before, those are available now because of these two technologies, right? So now as every business have equal opportunity to compete against the bigger organizations, and every business have like the advanced technologies to optimize and streamline what they are doing right now, there's a significant possibility to grow much faster than they were doing before.
Um, when it comes to low code and no code platforms, we want skilled individuals. So, what roles does institutional educational institutions or training programs play when it comes to providing necessary skills to leverage low code and no code platforms towards each individuals?
So there should be a, see, if you look at the biggest challenge in institutions right now is they are not industry ready, right? They're going through like 4 years of graduation, and after graduation they actually figure out which actually works for them, right? That need to change. Of course, there are a lot of universities that are actually bridging this gap, right, with a really good industry academia relationship, right? But that need to change. The one of the ways that it can change is by introducing low code products as part of the curriculum itself, right? Even if you look at it, at least in India, I'm not really sure about how it works in Malaysia. People still start with the students still start with C. They still start with Java or Python, all right? And that's important for them to understand the basics of programming, right? But we need to also understand the new advancements of Gen AI is making many of these paradigms irrelevant, right? Because generative AI says, okay, you don't need to write program. I will write code for you. So coding is no more a specialization. Problem solving is a specialization, right? So we should probably educate the students about problem solving skills, educate about generative AI and low code products, which allow them to solve problems instead of insisting on programming languages and coding, right? That is going to literally make a lot of students industry ready. They'll be able to immediately come in and then contribute to the business, right? That change need to happen.
Um, enhancing these platforms and generative AI and also advancing these platforms, what are the future trends in low code, and as well as how can the individuals outside traditional IT departments enhance or contribute to application development, and what benefits does this approach bring?
Okay, probably reiterate what we spoke earlier, right? If you look at 1980s, right? How many programmers do you think there are in the world? Like, because assembly language is extremely complex. They need to understand how the systems work, right? A few thousands. Again, when they bought in C, then the number actually went up to like few millions, right? And Java, few more millions. And so the languages become simple. More and more users embrace the language because it's easy for them to learn. And if you look, and here we have users and we have systems, right? Systems don't understand our language, right? And we could call this a semantic gap. Users can't speak system language and systems can't understand user language. And we had a translator called programmers in between who translate the user's language to systems language. And the systems actually created simpler languages. Systems are coming closer to the users. And with generative AI, the system is, the user is getting closer to the system as well. In the sense, instead of saying, okay, you learn my language, now the system is saying, I will understand your language,
Mhm.
right? We call this a semantic gap. And the semantic gap actually disappears with generative AI, right? Now, the system understands my language. I don't have to learn the system's language, right? And that's a great potential. This is literally uh, like I don't know how many are actually alive during the internet transformation, right? Like many of the people are quite young, but this is the next transformation we are going through right now, right? So this transformation is going to change the way we create applications, to change the way we talk to the systems, right? And this is going to bring in a massive potential for normal users, not programmers, to talk to systems and solve their problems, right? So what we know as programming for the last 20 years is going through a tremendous transformation, right? So this is very exciting time for pretty much all of us because this is the what to say the digital camera moment for photography, right?
But how do we ensure a smooth transition, especially towards the individuals in tech landscape, as well as meeting the evolving needs of digital economy? What do you think about that, Dinesh?
Okay, so this is going to be quite smooth because, as I said, we are not asking them to learn one more technology. Rather, the technology is coming closer to them, right? It is going to be extremely seamless. I heard that a lot of students are using ChatGPT to do their assignments right now, right? It's quite obvious for them because they are not learning anything new, just that they're using existing technology to do what they're doing in a much better way, right? So this is going to be very gradual transformation. Typically, if you look at any technology adoption, it takes years, but it really took months for people to adopt ChatGPT, right? And as said, this is the biggest advantage of the technology. This is going to change the paradigm, and uh, and the digital economy is going to prosper, right? As I said, if you look at the brick and mortar stores, the conventional businesses, it was like a significant investment for them to go through the digital transformation exercise, right? They need like a lot of funding, they need buy-in from businesses. That is going to change now because there are tools that are available in the market, and this is literally like a commodity. This I don't have to talk about why that transformation is important to the businesses. All of them know it right now, right? All of them know they need to go through this transformation. So there is already a mindset change, and there are technologies that are available, and the technologies are available at a much lesser cost as well, right? So there is no reason I see why the traditional businesses won't go through this digital transformation right now.
Mhm. But other things or our risk that we should look at is like you mentioned just now is cybersecurity. But other things that we have to look at is the spread of false information with this technology, as how easy we can create fake websites, for instance, or perhaps fake other fake stuff, especially that involves with the government and officials. So how do we can strategize or to mitigate these challenges, Dinesh?
That's a very good question. uh, Unfortunately, we may not have the answer right now, but what we need to understand is the ecosystem is evolving, right? Naturally, when the ecosystem evolves, everyone come into the picture. The governments, all the other agencies, all the big organizations as well, to create a governance layer around the technology as well, right? We need to understand this is probably a the ecosystem that grows. When the ecosystems grows, controls automatically come into play, right? These are very early days of development. So, of course, the fears are quite valid, but we need to understand that more and more users, more and more companies and governments participate in this ecosystem. It will evolve. This is like early days of internet. We had the same fear when the internet was growing as well, right? But again, nothing went bad. We are able to create controls around the internet. We are able to actually create firewalls and everything. The government actually came in as well, create their own systems to manage and maintain the internet. Now things are fine, right? The same kind of evolution will also happen in the generative AI and low code.
What kind of policies that the government should implement or create when it comes to this? Because I know it's not an easy thing, and before Malaysia adopt this low code and no code platforms in mass production. So what do you think about that?
So no code is a lesser challenge because, for example, the data resides in your country, right? And probably most of the time it resides within your firewall. If I'm running a big organization, the data is very well within your firewall, and the data is not shared to other systems as well, right? Even though the low code products use generative AI, it doesn't share the data with the generative AI systems. So the data is quite safe. The only challenge in low code, no code is uh, the possibilities the end user or the problems the end user can introduce, right? That's where the governance again come into play. As long as the business choose the products with a very clear governance layer, right, they'll be able to manage this without many any issues, right? So I am not seeing a problem because low code is not new as well. It is there for like 5 6 years now. If you look at all the big organizations, they have at least one or two low code products that are already used in the systems, right? So systems are extremely mature right now for the enterprises to adapt and use. And as long as they define a framework which allows the business users to contribute to the transformation, they are fine.
So moving forward, perhaps in 5 to 10 years' time, do you see these platforms is still there, or there are more than just AI or generative AI, or more technological advancements in the future?
It will be there, right? As I said, this is a paradigm change. This is not like a new tool that is introduced in the market. It is the new way of developing applications. And the more and more we have the digital, what we call as the millennials, come into the workforce, right? They want to solve their own problems. I don't think this is going to change. Of course, this is going to probably transform into a generative AI-led low-code development, right? Because more AI will assist the users in making it much more simpler than what it is right now. But this paradigm is like permanent. It's going to stay for a very long time.
Amazing. That was Dinesh Varadarajan, the Chief Product Officer at Kislo, and may we enhance the adoption of low code and also no codes in swiftly enhancing customer experience for brands and also businesses. So thank you so much for joining us this morning on Niaga AWANI. You can find this whole discussion on astrowani.com and all of our social media platforms.